Happy July 5th, everybody. Um, some of us might be a little hungover from, enjoying the fireworks and what we normally celebrate as our independence and our freedom. This year, there was a markedly different tone and look, actually, to much of the celebrations. And their, let's just say, uniformity, an absence of diversity, for lack of a better word. But that's not why I'm talking to you here today. So I'm George Delara, and up to yesterday, I wanted to be your next president. I really believed that America would be ready to embrace a president that is out of we the people. I'm not a billionaire, not a millionaire. I'm a middle of the road regular American like you. Spent my whole life pulling myself up by my bootstraps, only to have them cut off whenever I was close to making people feel uncomfortable because of my success and because of my talent, because of my ability to make something out of nothing. I've had art exhibitions where my work has been seen throughout the world. I've published 2 books, working on 2 more, and have spent my life giving myself to my community to make the world a better place. Naively and to my detriment financially in the long run, but I've given away artwork to the Boys and Girls Club in Ocala, Silver Springs. I've donated my work to hurricane relief. I've donated my work to Catholic charities. I'm in the process of donating some more paintings. I'm working on a series of Negro League players because my family in Cuba has a very direct connection to a lot of these players. My mom was a rabid baseball fan, so a lot of these guys she dragged home to eat my grandmother's cooking, which was all known all over their neighborhood in Havana, where the Almendades Alacranes played. Guys like Chuck Connor played on that team. The rifleman played for Almendades, and you know that desire to make the world better is the only thing that has ever driven me. I used to have a great grandfather, not a great grandfather, a grandfather who was great. So we make that clear. Um, Used to always didn't have a lot of time with him because he passed away by the time I was probably like 7, 8. But I remember him like if it were yesterday. Last I remember way too many things as if they were yesterday. Like we called ourselves the melting pot of the world. We were proud of that, and I remember that. It wasn't that long ago in the big picture of life, but some of you out there have never heard that. We're never born during that generation of love and peace and wanting to embrace our greatness and our beautiful God given diversity that made us the melting pot of the world. Cultures from everywhere together under one flag, loving that country, and doing anything to make that country the most powerful one in the world. But I no longer think, well, I sincerely, I know that America does not want a middle of the road president. America does not want a man who is going to act justly. Because one of those lessons that my grandfather used to, you know, take me aside, either sit me on his lap or just, we used to, in the apartment, we lived in New York. The kitchen was like a room in itself, and then right in front of it, there was a little nook area that was kind of like we had this little two-person table, a little like a diner table, and I remember sitting with my grandfather having breakfast, and I remember this one specific day where, for whatever reason, I just felt big. I felt big sitting next to my grandfather, enjoying that breakfast. My grandmother making it for us, coming to share it with us. It was just beautiful. Our neighbor, I remember, was this sweet, sweet, sweet Jewish lady who didn't speak much English. My grandmother didn't speak any Yiddish, only spoke Spanish. So I became their interpreter. So in my mind, at some point, I probably knew a little Yiddish. I knew a little, to communicate. And that is the beauty of our diversity. So one of those breakfasts, I remember my grandfather would call me Bartolo. Bartolo! Whenever he wanted to get my attention. Don't know where that came from. I know the only correlation that I've ever been able to find is that there was this one Cuban great baseball player that was called Bartolo, was named Bartolo. But he would say to me, Bartolo. And on this day he says, Bartolo, el hombre justo nunca tiene que pedir perdón. That translates to, the just man never has to beg for forgiveness. Now, people hear that and they say, well, that means I'm a man and I don't have to beg for forgiveness. This doesn't mean that at all. It means that you act in a way that is always just. So you never have to apologize. You never do anything that you have to apologize for, is what that means. And that's kind of how I've lived my life. So naively, I thought that America wanted a middle-of-the-road, regular American to be your president, not a billionaire, not a millionaire, not a career politician, no one who's complicit in what is happening now, either through silence or being with it. I thought we wanted something better, and I know we don't. I know we don't. Like I said, I don't really consider myself a Democrat. I don't really consider myself a Republican. I consider myself a middle-of-the-road American. As an athlete, I played sports my whole life, played baseball my whole life for over 40 years, not at the professional level, but semi-pro and high amateur levels. And at 65 years old, I can still hit a 90-mile-an-hour fastball with a little practice. An 80-mile-an-hour right now. We can go right now. I'll show you. The clips are on my post. So I do not believe grown men should play women's sports. Call me a Democrat, call me a Republican, call me whatever you want. But I don't believe that, because I saw as a coach the stark differences that occur just in development between boys and girls. I've coached baseball teams with both boys and girls on the team, 12 and under, 10 and under team, not a problem. But once you get to that 12 to 13 range, boys change. There is a marked growth and energized power, strength. It's called testosterone. So I'm not with the trans men playing women's sports simply because of this. And it has nothing to do with politics. It has nothing to do with anything other than the nature of the competitive athlete. Because if you're an athlete, don't care if you're a man or a woman, you want to compete against the best. You want to compete against the best, because I can guarantee you there are women playing today in the WNBA and playing in the Women's Soccer League that would love to be able to play in the NBA and in the Men's Professional Soccer League. And they probably could. I'm not saying they can't. Their skill level is right there. They probably could. But even a 6'5" woman next to a 6'5" professional basketball player man is no comparison. So let's end that. I don't want anybody to even think that I want a man to play women's sports. No, there has to be a weight classification, a size classification, like we do with children's sports. So if you're a 6'4" man and want to compete, trans man or a trans woman, you want to compete at the highest level. As an athlete, you should want to compete against the best, and that means the men. So there is where the disconnect is, and that's where I stand. So let's clarify that. The next thing I really want to clear up is the point of killing babies. That's ridiculous. I do not want babies killed. I'll say that again. I do not want babies killed. That is ridiculous. I do not want any of that. However, I believe in freedom. I believe in freedom, and I believe in the individual and the God-given a gift that we all have, and what everybody wants, no matter where you're from, is to live your life how you want. So those decisions, the government has no place in being involved. I leave that decision to the individual, their God, and their doctor. Period. I believe in the rules of none ya. It's none your damn business what a free American does with their life. Period. No book, no judge, no religion should be able to change that freedom in a free country. So that's why I don't think that America wants someone like me to be president. Number one, I'm not the right color. I'm brown. And obviously there is a war on brown right now. So say I do get the support and I do get the following from you, the American people, because all I did was apply to you, the American people, to say if I should continue this effort to be, our next president, your next president, America's next president. Not a billionaire, not a millionaire, not a politician, just a regular American. I don't claim to be smarter than anyone. I did not fall ass backwards into money so that I can create the illusion that I'm smarter than anybody by buying companies and bullying people into doing what I want. It's a grassroots, ground up, we the people movement to take control of our country and make it a country that the founding fathers envisioned as a beacon of freedom and democracy to the entire world. We've never been a country of cowards like we have running the country right now. I'm afraid of the brown person. I'm afraid of the Latino. I'm afraid of the women. I'm afraid of the black people. I'm afraid of the Middle Eastern people. I'm afraid of the Eastern Europeans. I'm afraid of the Caribbean people. They don't look like me. They don't sound like me. I don't like it when people speak different languages that I don't understand. Get them out of the country. They're terrorists. They're rapists. They're murderers. Meanwhile, you're more likely to be shot and killed by a right-wing extremist than you've ever been by any immigrant. It's just ignorance and hatred. So I cannot govern based on ignorance and hatred. I won't do that. I won't. I can't do it. I've never lived my life like that. I'm not going to start living it. So I want love. I want to lead through intelligence. I want to lead through love. I want to lead through doing the right thing. Not spewing ignorance and hatred and making you fear your neighbor. And I know where it started. It was that see something, say something after September 11th. That we got terrified, bro. We got attacked. Had never happened before on our soil. There's a lot of different theories on how and why and who, but it doesn't change the fact that we were attacked. And to protect ourselves, the say something, see something came up, say something, see something, say something, and it worked. It got terrorists out, it got people put in jail, it helped keep us safe, and we haven't been attacked again, so there's a certain truth to what that worked. But that fear they saw was gold. They saw that fear was gold. And they started to fester it. They started to make you fear everyone. It wasn't, what is your neighbor doing in his garage? It became, what is your neighbor doing in his bedroom? What is in your neighbor's pants? That, I believe, falls into that none ya got category. It ain't none ya fucking business. If they're building bombs, that's your business. If they're loving somebody who looks different than you, it's none of your business. If they're preaching to a God that's not yours, it's none of your business. And that's the America that I was raised in. That's the America that I believe. That's the America that my father fought in the U.S. Army for. That freedom that separated us from the rest of the world. Because that statue in New York Harbor says, send me your downtrodden, send me your bad, you're injured, you're the people who are suffering. We'll cure them, we'll make them better. That's the American dream. People don't come here to commit crimes. In fact, evidence shows that immigrants commit crimes at a much lower rate than U.S.-born citizens, simply because the consequences are much higher. An immigrant commits a crime, he gets kicked out. There goes that dream of a better life. So they're not going to commit crimes. An American commits a crime, they get a slap on the wrist, and he's sent out. A couple of months, he's back on the street doing it again. That's what's really killing America. The inbred nature of the red states. You need diversity in your blood, motherfuckers. That's why you're so stupid. And you don't deserve a president that is a middle-of-the-road regular American, someone who's going to look out for your best interests, not weaponize your ignorance and hatred against you. You don't want that. You want a loud braggart, craziness, you want the chaos, you want people scared, you want people, because that is what you see on TV. That's your programming. So, it's up to you. This is way too long a video, and I know nobody's going to watch it, but you can't fight a battle you can't win. And as much as I love my country, and as much as I know that we the people can do a better job than the oligarchs, than people who fall ass backwards into money and declare themselves geniuses, I know we can do better. Because I see you out there. I see single moms with 3 kids, giving them the life that they never understood is a life of poverty. And these kids are thriving because these single moms. I've seen grandfathers, fathers, work 3 jobs, not 1, 3 jobs, to educate their kids, to educate their families, to give them the better life. To now be told that you don't belong. I feel like this is not my country anymore. I served this country, risking my life in the domestic intelligence, picking up information to make your life better. Unarmed, going into the worst neighborhoods, into the worst situations, into jailhouses, interviewing murderers and thieves and criminals, going into the worst neighborhoods to do little data gathering information so that you'd have the money you need, should you need it. There are Americans every day who sacrifice their lives to make yours better and weren't born here. They're here because they love this country. They're here because they love you. They love your way of life. And they want that for themselves, for their families, for their kids. That's what you hate. You hate the fact that yo puedo cambiar idiomas. Not even think about it. I can switch languages and not even think about it. I understand Italian. I understand Portuguese. I understand French. I understand Caribbean languages. I even understand German because I worked in Miami for a long time with a catalog design company, a fashion catalog that was for Germany. And we were in Miami doing the photography and laying out the catalogs and doing the designs, but all of the top people from the magazine were German. And there was one young lady who was Colombian who spoke German, English, and Spanish. And she was the translator between all of us. And it got to a point where the art director would tell her directions for me in German, and I would stop her and say, he said to move this and do that and do this and change this text and change that. She goes, wow, how did you do it? Because I could understand the language. Because my intelligence gave me the avenue to understand different languages. Why can't you do that? I was born in the same country as you. Yo no estudié español. I've never taken a class in Spanish. It was just around me. And my brain absorbed it, categoried it, filed it, so that I can still remember it. Sprechen Sie Deutsch? Auf Wiedersehen, Fräulein. Parlez-vous français? ¿Hablas inglés? Do you speak English? Do you speak Spanish? Parlez-vous anglais? We can speak multiple languages, and that's what drives you people crazy. Our intelligence. That's it. That's why you hate us. We're smarter than you. And you could never have a smarter person as your president. You need a moron to look down to and to say, look how stupid it is. Look how stupid he is. You love to turn on the TV in the morning to hear what ignorant hatred, what racist bullshit came out of the mouths of these people, of these troglodytes that you worship. Because let me tell you something. Worshiping a politician is exactly the same as believing that stripper really loves you. Yep. I give her 75% of my check because she loves me. That's what you want. So, not saying I don't want to be your president, because I sincerely believe I can do a better job than the cowards, traitors, and racist morons that you've empowered, because that's what you want. You want a moron. You don't want to be accountable. You don't want someone who's going to protect you. You want someone who's going to attack others. The brown people, the black people, the Jewish people, the Muslim people. They don't look like me. They speak different languages that I don't understand. And I don't like them. So, since I cannot rule, I cannot govern through ignorance and hatred like you guys want, I'm probably not the best candidate to be your president. You're going to go with another career politician. You're going to go with another corrupt billionaire. You're going to go with someone who's going to promise you flowers and give you thorns. And you love it. Masoquistas. That's what my grandmother would have called it. Masochists. You love to be kicked in the ass and treated like a hoe and slapped around by your oligarchs. Oh, I'm not paying tax on tips. But you morons just capped at $25,000. And what that probably means is that you'll never see a cash tip again, because your employers, since now there's a tax incentive, they'll more than likely end cash tipping. That means that all the cash tips that you get will be gone. Because now you're not going to pay tax on it. Isn't that wonderful? But it has to go into your payroll. It has to go into your paycheck. You have to document it. You have to itemize. I didn't tell you that part. So, again, they weaponized your ignorance. You didn't see ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, Fox. None of them do an in-deep dissemination of the big, horrible dictatorship enabling bill. They just fear-mongered on the 16 million that are going to lose the 4 trillion to the deficit, because that's the distraction. That was the distraction, to keep the media, to keep the Democrats harking on those horrible parts, while the real nefarious and malevolent part got shoved down our throats. Quietly, efficiently, Vaseline. That's what you want. That's what you want. You don't want a middle-of-the-road America. You don't want truth. You don't want honesty. You don't want someone who's going to fight for your future. Actually fight for your future. Getting back some of that money that came out of your pockets to make those billionaires billionaires. Because where do you think that money came from? They didn't print it. They didn't create it. They didn't manufacture it. It came from your pockets. From the stuff you've bought from them. From the stuff you've ordered from them. From the stuff that you have been manipulated into believing you need. You don't need an iPhone. You need a phone. You don't need Gucci. You need a purse. But you've been weaponized against yourselves. And you enjoy it. And I can't help you. If you want a president that is for the people, by the people, think of people like me. Think of regular Americans. Think of people who love this country regardless. Because Mark Twain said it best. Patriotism is loving your country always and supporting your government when it deserves it. That's the real patriotism in America today. That's what we need. Patriots who love this country. Don't care the color of your skin. Don't care where you came from or how you got into the country. We care that you love this country and want the dream that is on that statue in our harbor. Because otherwise they're going to have to get rid of it. They're going to have to get rid of the statue. They're not going to live up to those words. We're no longer the land of the free. We are no longer the land of opportunity. There's nobody at the border because people running from dictatorships are not going to go to dictatorships. It's common sense. It's not policy. They don't want to live in dictatorships. They're running from dictatorships. Why would they run to another one? Because they want to manipulate you into believing that you're in danger, believe the fear, so that they can continue to profit. Alligator Alcatraz is a for-profit prison to house civil violations, the equivalent of jaywalking. That's the crime these people have committed. The crime of wanting a better life. The crime of running from dictatorships, the crime of running from gangs, from violence, from rape, from death. That's the crime. God bless America. God bless the United States. God bless our people. And I love you all. Even the ones that hate me because of the color of my skin, because of my heritage, because I don't give a fuck where you came from, or what the color of your skin is, or how you got into this country. I care that you love this country. I care that you want peace and prosperity for all Americans. Those are the only things. That's my platform. My platform is freedom. A return to the melting pot that we once were, and embrace the power and strength of our God-given diversity, because every ecosystem is better, more powerful, more healthy through diversity. Human beings are no different. Human beings are no different. We are part of nature. And we deny that nature, we deny ourselves. God bless you. God bless America. Crazy and impossible. That's what this is. Crazy and impossible to want a country by the people and for the people. God bless you guys. I love you all.